welcome to the Mav Zone as we preview the 2012 men's soccer season. We have a very special guest to help us preview that season. Medaille men's head soccer coach, Daniel Krizanowicz, better known as Coach K in the Medaille community. Hey, Coach K, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, Coach K. You're entering your 11th season as the head coach for Medaille. Very astounding achievement, to say nonetheless. What makes this team, the 2012 team, better than any other team you've ever coached?
Well, first, I don't know that I'd say that they're going to be better than any other team I've ever coached. It's hard to pit one team against another, but they'll definitely be different, and I think every team in its own right is special to me. But this team, it's the energy so far. I mean, we're only a few days into camp so far, but high energy because we're young, and they're an exciting group. They're a fun group, very high character group, hard-working group, and so far they've been very fun to work with. So I would say what separates them from the other teams thus far is just how young we are and how hungry they are.
And now I know this may bring back some bad memories from last year, but I have to ask, your team was about 5 minutes away from taking Penn State Barron to overtime and possibly penalty kicks in the 2011 AMCC Championship Game. And I knew I was there. It was a very exciting back and forth game. No goals were scored up until this point when Penn State Barron took the 1-0 lead and eventually ended up winning the game. First off, what was going through your mind when that happened, and then when the clock struck 0 and there was no way you guys could win that game?
Well, you know, I felt like we had played really well. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, we outshot them the second half 9-1 on frame. I thought we played extremely well. I couldn't really criticize the effort. I couldn't really criticize the energy level. You know, it was one of those where the kid really hit a rocket, and you tip your hat to him and say, you know, well done. That's one of the goals. One thing we said to our team the entire season was, we don't want to give up goals because we're bad. If they score a goal, it better be because they did something really well, and because they had quality on that moment. And that was one of those goals where, you know, it was great quality. The game of soccer is one filled with upsets. You know, I thought we outshot them. We outpossessed them, we outplayed them, we outcornered them, but they finished a great opportunity, and we didn't finish any of the opportunities that we had. So soccer can be a very unfair game. You know, you can outshoot, you can outpossess, you can out-corner kick, you can outplay an opponent, but the bottom line is if they get one shot and it's a goal and you get 20 shots and you don't score any, that's the game. And I think upsets are more prevalent in this sport than any other sport in the world. So, you know, to me, you know, of course, when they scored, I was disappointed, but I was just focused on making our goal down adjustments from a tactical standpoint. So we made some immediate changes to try to go get that goal back, and you know, we definitely had some really good opportunities. We had one with just a few minutes left in the game, inside of 6 yards out, that we skied over the goal, and I think we had two other very dangerous opportunities in the final 6 minutes to score. So it was just disappointment, you know. And when the clock hit 0, I was just disappointed for my players, you know, and my staff. I was just, you know, I felt for my seniors who'd worked so hard and had been in the tournament for 3 years and really wanted to make it 4 in a row and be the first team in my team's history or the school's history to go 4 years in a row. But, you know, so I just felt for them because I knew they worked hard and I felt they'd earned the opportunity.
Now, do you use that result as, well, that's what happened last year, this year? Did you use that as like motivation to get back to AMCC title, win back the AMCC title, and eventually get back to the Sweet 16 where you were a couple of years ago?
I don't know that I'll use it a lot for motivation. I think last year's last year, this year's this year. We're a different team. We'll be a little bit different stylistically, and the personnel is going to be different. You know, we graduated 10 seniors, 8 of which started at least one match, and 6 were always regular stars. On some days we did start 8. So different makeup, different team. I don't think that'll motivate, but I think some of those returning players will use it as motivation, that remember that moment and don't want to go back to that.
Well, your Medaille took over the preseason picks. George Torr and Nick Kurtz were both picked as the offensive and defensive preseason players of the year respectively, and you guys took number 1 overall in the conference preseason. Does the expectation of perfection ever help or hurt your team in any way?
You know, I don't think it really impacts us either way. I think it's those are things that other people put on top of you, And I think it's your own expectations that you hold yourself to. I want all my players to hold themselves to accountability. And we're trying to go on the road to amazing. And our destiny is to be amazing as a unit, as a team, as a family. And that happens one game at a time, the pathway that we're going to travel. So I don't think what other people think about us or where they rate us or rank us matter nearly as much as what we think of ourselves and what accountability we hold ourselves to. I've never put much merit into preseason polls or even regular season polls, to be honest. I said we've got to come out and do what we've got to do, one game at a time on this road that we're taking, to amazing.
And as you look at the 2012 schedule, what games do you, obviously the Barron game is going to be very important as it seems to determine who gets home field advantage in that championship game the last few years. Other than that, do you see any other games that you circle on your calendar saying, all right, this game is super important for us?
Well, obviously you mentioned the Barron game. That game, the last 5 seasons, has determined who won the regular season championship, who had home field for the playoffs. So that game seems to always be a big game in conference. But to be quite honest, this year with this young team, my focus is one game at a time. I mean, all I'm thinking about right now during training camp is our team, making us better, making us the best that we can. In a week from now, I'll start to think a little bit about Alfred State and Oswego, who we play opening weekend, and it'll be one game at a time. I'm not putting any game in front of any others. They're all worth the same to me. We've got to come out and prepare for all of them equally. And I think with a young team, that's just what we're going to do. We're just going to focus on every game, one game at a time, and not try to look at anybody too lightly or put anybody up on a pedestal.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us on the Mavs Zone today, Coach K. And thank you, the fans, for watching us. Stick around on YouTube. You more videos and highlights all year long from Medaille Athletics. I'm Alec Pinterpe.